Hi everyone, Lance and Haydn here from Denovan's. Thanks very much tonight for joining us with our Facebook Live. We're here on Eka Eve to discuss some of the frequently asked questions we receive from first home buyers. Haydn, I've got a list here for you. Hope you can answer all these.
Yeah, hopefully so. Hopefully I know the answer to these ones actually.
I'll start off with a rather unusual one. The first one is, are you going to the Eka tomorrow?
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, I've got a couple of appointments on, and then I've got a few things to tackle in the afternoon. But
no dag with dogs or fairy floss for you.
Unfortunately, not tomorrow, or strawberry ice creams for that matter. So I'm sure everyone going will have a great day. So
hope so. We'll get on to the serious ones. As you know, we do get asked a lot of questions along the way from first home buyers, and one of the most frequent ones is finances. Yep. How much money will I need? As a first home buyer, what am I going to need to have on hand?
Yep, so it is a huge question that we do get asked, and obviously, depending on where you're getting your information, it can differ as well. So look, I'll keep it nice and simple. The big one is the deposit. Deposit 5% minimum. There will be some lender's mortgage insurance involved at that level. It's inevitable unless you've got a full 20% deposit. You're not going to avoid that lender's mortgage insurance. The other two things, or the other two main things, will be your building and pest report. Ranges between about $500 and $600, depending on who you get it done by. And then you've got your solicitor's fees, your conveyancing fees, and typically, involving searches, depending on, again, how many searches you do choose to get. That will generally be around $2,000.
Right. And stamp duty, I'd have to say, potentially, depending on the threshold?
Depending on the threshold, exactly. So up to $500,000 inclusive. First home buyers are exempt from stamp duty, which is obviously great news. Fantastic. Providing they're moving into the property, of course. I should qualify that. Providing it's up to $500, no stamp duty payable, it does tier from there as well, depending on how far above that level, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Very good. Now the next question there is the first home buyer's grant.
Yes.
How would I go about that? How would I be eligible and how would I get it?
Yep. Okay. So it's a great question, great initiative. Again, depending, obviously you've got to be a first home buyer. First ticket item. Yeah. Right. Secondly, has to be for new homes or significantly renovated. So it's really brought in for new homes.
Right. So when you say new homes, that'd be apartments and houses, and it doesn't have to be a house, it could be an apartment, for example?
Absolutely, yes, it could be a house or apartment, providing it's new, new to the market, so developer stock, anything like that, you're eligible. Well, you should check your eligibility based on X, Y and Z, and there's a great website actually out there for, part of the Queensland Government website.
Right.
But yeah, that would be the first port of call. It is $20,000, provided the property again is less than $750,000.
Right. Okay.
So if you're first home buyer, nice and cashed up and running around and buying properties for $1 million, it unfortunately doesn't. Okay. You don't get your 20 big ones from the government.
Right. Fair enough too. Next question I've got here is do I buy now or do I keep saving? I mean, you hear a lot on the news. It's hard to get in the market. Sure it is, particularly in these inner city areas. But am I better off buying now or just continuing to save?
Yep, so another great question. My personal opinion, everyone's got their own 2 cents worth on this, I think. My personal opinion would be buy sooner rather than later. Reason for that, I think that if you are continuing to save, and obviously as you said before, to get that deposit initially is very hard. So I think, potentially in a rising market, and we've had quite a strong market for a number of years now, if the market is moving, you could potentially find yourself in a position where you're saving and saving and saving and chasing your tail. Whereas if you bite the bullet and look at diving into either a family guarantee situation or paying the LMI.
So the LMI being the lender's mortgage insurance?
Correct, yes. You could find yourself after a couple of years being in a significantly better position than had you waited and been saving and saving and saving, even though from the outset sometimes it can look like, oh wow, this is this big cost, I'm paying all this money and it's going onto my loan, and over the next 25, 30 years I'm going to have to pay this back. I think potentially you could find yourself in a much better position, having jumped in, got the right property for yourself and had a couple of years worth of growth.
That capital growth.
Yeah,
certainly.
yeah.
Hey. All right, next question. Where should I buy?
Yep.
Where would be the best place?
Another great question. I guess it depends what you're looking for as well. So each individual and group of people are different in terms of what they're looking for, in terms of finishes and size of block and house or apartment, all that type of thing. For growth, we'll stick with maybe for growth. I believe if you're looking for growth, I would look as close to the city as you can afford, with the largest parcel of land that you can afford. Obviously, there's going to be some other things you want to factor in, such as whether it's close to a main road, whether there's
some detrimental factors potentially, near the train line or on a flight path or something like this.
Exactly right.
So there's overriding criteria that might distort that formula a little bit.
Exactly. So take it with a grain of salt, but for growth, generally speaking, I'd look as close to the city as possible, on the largest block as possible, and taking into those other factors into account, such as what you just mentioned.
Well, that's it. Well, even as a first home buyer, I mean, you're really better off, sacrificing some things, aren't you, and then getting ahead in the market, getting some equity, because that's important, and it may be your first home stepping towards second or third home eventually.
Well, that's exactly right. And I think that's a key point you've just raised. It may not necessarily be your forever home that you're purchasing as a first home buyer, but if you get into that great suburb that is producing the results in terms of the growth and that sort of thing, I really think that you'd be in a position. Sometimes it's only a couple of years down the track, and time flies, and you could be in a position whereby you can actually move on to that next property, that second property that you've always dreamed of.
Having made a few bob on the first one.
Having made a bit of money on the first one, maybe you've done a bit of a cosmetic reno, some of the things yourself, and added some value there as well. I think I think that would be a great way to then get to that next step.
So in other words, even when you're buying, think about the resale.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
All right. Now, should I get a building and pest report? Buying a brand new home, or might be buying a home, it's only a couple of years old. Should I still get one?
Yeah, easy question, that one. Yes. Yeah, I would always get a building and pest report, or at least a builder or someone qualified pesty to go and have a look over the property and give you some advice. As you said, even as a new home.
What's a pesty, by the way?
Sorry, using some slang there, but building or pest professional. But yeah, I think even as a new home, even if you're looking at newer properties, sometimes it can be little things.
They come with a builder's warranty, the new ones?
Yeah, certainly there will be a structural warranty there through the QBCC.
It's still best to get the building and pest.
I think so. Yeah, just so you're aware as well. You might be covered if something arises within that first, I think it's about 7-year period under the structural warranty. However, I think it's still nice to know at the outset what you're getting into. Great thing to put on your file, and in fact, some lenders will want it as well as a condition of the finance. So I would always, not necessarily to read too much into, but just as an overall summary of the structural integrity of your property, just to see how it's all going, and it's a massive investment. I mean,
certainly.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, that's why you get a warranty on your car, I suppose. You get an RACQ or. So you do it on a house, wouldn't you? So,
you would, yeah.
Now, okay, I haven't got, as a buyer, I haven't got enough deposit, or I haven't ticked those boxes that are going to allow me to move forward and buy anything, basically.
Yep.
So, are there any other alternatives for me? What would you suggest?
Yep. So I would do one of two things. I'd chat to family, see if if you're lucky enough to have a family member or friend, or probably very very close friend, in a position to perhaps go guarantor. And that's something that certainly chat further with a mortgage broker or licensed professional about. Or you could always go in partnership with someone. Again, you'd want to be fairly close with this person and probably have a legal agreement set out at the beginning.
So set out a legal framework, and obviously all sit down and make that all clear, and then set that into a legal agreement. So there's you don't become bad friends later.
No, well, that's right. I mean, what could start out very nice might go south. You never know. So it's always best to, I guess, prepare for the worst. But I mean, I would probably either chat to a friend that you're pretty close to, or family member, and just set out an agreement at the outset. It may be beneficial for both of you. You could have you can have two people that are really good friends and perhaps help each other out with the deposit, and then 5 years down the track, again they might you might choose to go your separate ways and get your individual properties from there. But it could be a huge financial stepping stone for you to get into the market, get that growth, and then move forward from there.
We'll get you a leg in, I suppose, and gives you a record with the lenders too, doesn't it? So you've got that record. It probably becomes easier when you go to refinance or even borrow in your own right, I suppose, if you've got that proven record there, doesn't it? So
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You'll be pleased to know that's the last of the questions. So
hopefully I've got a pass mark this evening.
They were the top 6 or 7 questions we had. But I hope everyone has a lovely day at the Ekka tomorrow. And we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks very much.